Hello friends, in this video I am going to discuss Directive Principles. Directive Principles of State Policy or DPSP enshrined in the Constitution of India are the unique features that functions on the principle of welfare of the society. It is a set of guidelines instructed to the state by the Constitution. So in this video, I will discuss the concept and applicability of Directive Principles of a State Policy. Let's start with the introduction. Directive Principles of a State Policy are discussed in Part 4 of the Indian Constitution. Articles 36 to 51 describe the concept, features, and applicability of Directive Principles of a State Policy. Now, the question is, what is the meaning of Directive Principles of a State Policy? Mentioned in Part 4 of the Indian Constitution, Directive Principles of State Policy are a set of provisions and guidelines that instructed to a state to create such social and economic conditions under which every individual and groups of this country can have an equal opportunity to lead a good life. Now, the next question is, what is the significance of Directive Principles of a State Policy? Mentioned in Part 4 of the Indian Constitution, Directive Principles of a State Policy are the provisions that promote welfare of the society. Directive Principles encourage social and economic revolution in our society. Further, Article 38 of the Indian Constitution states that the state shall strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing and protecting as effectively as it may a social order in which justice, social, economic, and political shall inform all the institutions of the national life. Secondly, the state shall in particular strive to minimize the inequalities in income and endeavor to eliminate inequalities in status, facilitates and opportunities, not only amongst individuals but also amongst groups of people residing in different areas or engaged in different vocations. Likewise, the provision states that the state will strive to build a true welfare state and inter alia endeavor to end the economic exploitation and inequalities in the state. Besides, the state will also facilitate equal opportunities to the individuals as well as groups. About this provision of the Constitution, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar says, it is the intention of the Assembly that in future both the legislature and the executive should not merely pay the lip service to these principles enacted in this part, but that they should be made the basis of all executive and legislative action that may be taken hereafter in the matter of the governance of the country. Further, Justice K.S. says, the purpose of the fundamental rights is to create an egalitarian society, to free all citizens from coercion or restrictions by society, and to make liberty available for all. The purpose of the Directive Principles is to fix certain social and economic goals for immediate attainment by bringing about a non-violent social revolution. Through such a social revolution, the Constitution seeks to fulfill the basic needs of the common man and to change the structure of our society. It aims at making the Indian masses free in the positive sense. Next, source of Directive Principles of a State Policy. The source of Directive Principles of a State Policy is Irish Constitution, that is Ireland. Next, nature of Directive Principles of a State Policy. Article 37 of the Indian Constitution states that the provisions contained in this part shall not be enforceable by any court, but the principles therein laid down are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. Likewise, the DPSP do not offer any legal rights for the violation of which any individual could seek a legal remedy. However, DPSP are fundamental in the governance of the country, and that it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making such laws. Next, classification of directive principles of state policy. DPSP are broadly categorized as socialistic directives, Articles 38, 39, 41, and 42 of the Constitution. Next, Gandhian directives, Articles 40, 43, 45, 46, 47, and 48 of the Constitution are known as Gandhian directives, as it works on Gandhian principles. Last but not the least, that is liberal intellectual directives. Articles 44, 49, 50, and 51 of the Constitution are known as liberal intellectual directives, as it works on liberal principles. Each category will be discussed in separate video in detail. Kindly keep watching for the updates on this. Next, DPSP synopsis. As you can see, all three categories of DPSP along with their articles. This is easy to memorize. Next, DPSP amendments. In this section, we will discuss the amendments in reference to Directive Principles of a State Policy. Article 49. Protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance. It was modified by the 7th Amendment Act 1956. Next, Article 39A, that is Equal Justice and Free Legal Act. It was added by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Next, Article 53A, Participation of workers in management of industries. It was added by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Next, Article 48A. It ensures protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forests and wildlife. It was added by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. Next, Article 38(2). It states that a state shall strive to minimize the inequalities in income, was added by the 44th Amendment Act 1978. Last but not the least, Article 45. It ensures the provision for free and compulsory education for children, was added by the 86th Amendment Act 2002. So this is all about the directive principles of a state policy.